Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Rear Window, starring James Stewart, Grace Kelly, Raymond Burr, Wendell Corey, and Thelma Ritter, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Now, I have done Psycho before, and welcome back to Mr. Hitchcock from that series, but only that original film, I'll say that much. And why am I going back to Alfred Hitchcock movies? Well, the month is October, right? And I'm going to be doing this, Vertigo, and I'll watch Psycho and Spirit because I have reviewed this one before, and leading up to The Birds for the entire month until and then I'll come back to Hitchcock when I deal with the movie that came out, what was it, 2014, from Anthony Hopkins, not directed by but starring him. So that's why I'm doing a Hitchcock thriller series, let's call this. So, and I remember seeing most of these movies before. Well, not all of his movies, but these other four that I'm about to talk about today. So, let's just get straight into this one. We get the opening theme score with the opening credits, which works great as we move on to a cat walking in the neighborhood where this movie takes place, as L.B. Jeffries, played by James Stewart, is in a wheelchair, spying on his neighbors while sitting in a wheelchair in his apartment with a broken left leg. And this is pretty much a genius move by Alfred Hitchcock, going from one window to the next, to the next, to the next. And this is a great setup for the movie, as well as the character of L.B. Jeffries. While he gets a call from his boss at his job, as he's a photographer for a newspaper, and he looks at his neighbors, which is super creepy in so many levels. But remember, director Alfred Hitchcock can pull off creepy very well, even before he became the master of suspense. And JB's maid Stella, played by Thelma Ritter, comes in to take care of JB, and I really like this setup as director Alfred Hitchcock sets things up very well. And I really like the character James Stewart is playing throughout. Stella gives JB a massage by getting off the wheelchair and getting on a bed of some kind. I'm talking about marriage to his girlfriend, as JB believes he's not ready for it, while Stella is at his apartment. JB continues to spy on the neighbors, and nighttime comes, and his girlfriend, named Lisa Fremont, played by Grace Kelly, is in JB's apartment, and she comes off as a likable character, along with JB and Stella thus far, and gives him a nice dinner from the apartment chef, and until he becomes like a kind of rude to her, I'll say at best, and they have an argument of some kind. And the cinematography is very well done, as this doesn't feel like a movie from 1954, but it is, as it looks great. JB talks with Lisa while having dinner with her, and he continues to spy on the neighbors, and he sees one drinking wine alone, and the ballet dancer has some men over the husband, giving his wife dinner in bed while she's sick, and the wife suddenly gets out of bed while her husband is on the phone with someone, and one guy plays the piano, while a music teacher, whom I'm leading to believe, is cameoed by director Alfred Hitchcock, and suddenly appears with dinner for JB, as JB and Lisa have an argument of some kind, like a married couple, even though they're just boyfriend-girlfriend. And she leaves, and the dialogue written is great, so the acting is tremendous by James Stewart and Grace Kelly. JB wakes up because he hears the storm going on in his neighborhood, and it's raining outside, and sees a neighbor being outside in the middle of the night for 40 minutes, and he suddenly goes out again with the briefcase, and JB falls asleep and sees that neighbor is still out while the ballerina answers the door and closes it, and his weird neighbor comes back, and he goes back to sleep until morning comes. And I like the production design in this neighborhood, as it looks gorgeous throughout the movie, as Stella is in the apartment of JB, giving him a massage, and JB is led to believe the creepy neighbor named Lars Thorwald, played by Raymond Burr, is up to something no good, as the performances are tremendous in this movie from the actors. Even Grace Kelly and James Stewart, and yeah. JB gets a camera out of a shelf to spy on Lars, as JB is led to believe he killed his wife, while later in the day he sees a dog going up to his apartment well, not his apartment, but the couple's apartment by a basket, while JB and Lisa are in his apartment smooching up a storm. He and Lisa, I mean, until JB continues to spy on his neighbors, and they argue once again as JB is led to believe Lars is a killer of some kind, as Lisa sees something is up with Lars. And this is a pretty scary concept, and it doesn't take a while, but it does take a while to get to the point of the movie, which is a minor nitpick, I'll say, for it at this point. JB continues to spy on not just Lars, but the other neighbors, as some men collect a box from Lars, which is something JB and I are led to believe is a dead body, which happens to be his wife, whom he ends up killing off screen as he gets a visitor from Lieutenant Tom Doyle, played by Wendell Corey, about a story of how Lars killed his wife, and he doesn't want to report it quite yet, as JB sees the dog and Lars pushing the dog away from his garden, while JB and Tom asks Tom about his wife, and he tries to dig in about what evidence JB has against Lars, while JB wants to find proof of the murder. And this movie works on this day, even in movies like Brian De Palma's Body Double, and in the Shia LaBeouf film Disturbia. JB sees a woman in a green dress leaving Lars' apartment and goes to a restaurant across the street from his apartment complex and sees Lars is up to something no good and calls Tom in to send in someone to go after Lars, and goes through a woman's purse. And Lisa comes in the apartment, and JB asks what she has done to her hair while spying on Lars, and eventually turning on the light because it's nighttime, and what JB is doing is harassment for damn sure. And there's a reason in this is a movie, and it's creepy as this story is satisfying. Tom comes to the apartment while JB continually spies on his neighbors, as Lisa is also there, and Tom gets a phone call while at JB's apartment, and Tom is believing a lie and leaves the apartment. And I can believe this is wrong, but the movie pulls it off perfectly. JB and Lisa hear a scream after the couple's neighbor's dog is killed, while JB is believing Lars killed the dog, and Stella comes by, as well as JB telling both Lisa and Stella about how Lars has grief with the dog from earlier in the film. And JB writes a letter to Lars saying what has he done with her, and he looks rather suspicious, like someone knows what he did. And I'm really enjoying the movie from the get-go, as I'm on the edge of my seat. Lisa and Stella says to JB to be squeamish, and JB calls Lars to get him at a bar, while Lisa and Stella look around Lars' apartment area for a dead body as he leaves the building complex, as he calls Tom to get him over there ASAP, while they don't have a dead body. And Lisa climbs in the apartment to look inside the purse, and Stella comes back and tells him to call the police. And Lars comes back and might find Lisa while he's on the phone with the police. And Lars spots Lisa and assaults her, and the cops come by quickly, and Lars lets them in, and he's led to believe it is JB. And this is reminding me of an episode of that '70s show where Fez spies on Bob, and he looks like he knows Fez has sent someone into Bob's house, and he looks up. And another thing that reminded me of that '70s show is Lars coming into JB's apartment after JB being on the phone with Tom, and Lars enters the apartment and snaps photos of Lars in the dark, and a bright light comes on, whereas in that '70s show, Bob enters the room and Fez takes flashing photos of Bob like JB does to Lars in this scene. And Lars tries to suffocate JB as JB almost falls out of the building, and the cops come in and stop Lars as JB, in a shot that looks fake, but it might be projector, I couldn't really tell you, and breaks his right leg now. And everything is back to normal as the neighbors are happy again. The ballerina's husband gets home to her from the war, and the couple has a new dog, and JB sleeps on while he has a cast on both of his legs. And Lisa reads a magazine from JB's apartment, and the climax was thrilling and exciting, as this movie works as a classic for a damn good reason. And let's find out why in a rating. I'll give this movie a 8.9 out of 10. I really like the characters as well as the cinematography, which doesn't make the movie feel 1954, which is the year this movie was released. And this story is original in a creepy kind of way, like Spying on Your Neighbors, which is super creepy in general, in my opinion, but the movie pulls it off quite well. The acting is well done by James Stewart and Grace Kelly, as their performances, and every other actor as well. His performances are tremendous, and the production design was gorgeous to look at throughout the movie, as it is a scary concept, but a minor nitpick will be it takes a while for Hitchcock to get to the point of the movie. The concept works as it gets remade a few times, as this feels more original as the writing is well written, as this is a Hitchcock classic for a damn good reason, and this is a solid recommendation, as this is a concept that is remade a few times, like that Christopher Reeve one in the 90s, which I've never seen, but I hear it's good. Or maybe, I don't know, I don't know too much about it, as I learned about it a few days ago. And this is a concept that, oh yeah, I already said that. As it works on this day, to this day, as this is the best attempt in my opinion. So yeah, I would like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Vertigo. And until then, I'm going to do the theme from Psycho. Wee, 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 wee.